Welcome to Winter Sports Market 2025. New year, new gear. Let's go check it out. Hey, Jonny Moseley here with Peter Glenn Ski and Sports, hanging out with Matt Farnes from Dynastar Lang Look. And we're talking about the legendary Look lineup of bindings. It's like when you make something a good design, you don't really have to change it. And I'm sure you'll have something to say about that, but it's pretty much like a binding that keeps going and people still love, even though it's kind of been the same binding for like 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
That's exaggerating, but
definitely a fan favorite.
Yeah.
You know, we did make some incremental changes to the heel piece design last year. For this season, all pivot bindings have that new kind of 2.0 heel piece design update.
Okay. And is that functional, cosmetic, a little bit of everything?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think that it has a huge impact on the consumer, but certainly you get a little bit more adjustment range out of the heel piece if you happen to be upsizing or downsizing boots.
Sure.
You know, other changes, we introduced some new brake widths like that B105, which was missing from the collection, but a very important kind of brake width.
It's an important thing, educational moment. Pause for education. So every ski now is different widths, right? Which used to not be the case. Binding companies just made one binding and they all fit on every ski. Now, because the binding's changing width, every binding has to have a different width brake, right? Because otherwise the brake's gonna hit the ski. So important for you to know when you buy a binding, buy a ski. All right, carry on.
For this season, we made some changes to kind of the lineup of the Pivot collection and introduce a new family member, if you will.
Okay.
And so the way that this works is pretty clean, right? We have all the same heel piece designs, that turntable style heel piece that you guys know from the bumpers and jumpers community.
Well, and the reason bumpers and jumpers, including myself, love the Lang, the Look binding is because it's small footprint. So it's a very narrow screw pattern, so it allows the ski to do what it needs to do. And when you're trying to flip and spin or even turn fast, you don't have, obviously you put weight further away from your foot. It's more, it takes more effort to turn it in any which way. So having all the weight concentrated right behind your heel, and then obviously a small toe as well, you can feel it. Believe it or not, it's a significant difference than, say, a binding that's a plate binding. Yeah,
it definitely enhances the kind of round, natural flex of the ski because of that small mounting pattern. Yeah. And then, of course, you get all of the elastic travel that is really important, to kind of keep you in your ski as that ski is flexing and moving around. And then you get the turntable heel piece. Right? Which, again, is a defining feature of this collection.
Safety.
Performance
and safety.
So
because I've never really thought of it that way. So as the ski twists and turns, it allows the heel to sort of like move with the ski a little bit.
You get some lateral movement out of the heel, and there are instances in which you don't want your boot to release from the binding, and then there are instances in which you do.
Right.
And that's what that elastic travel, that's kind of where that comes into play.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it recenters you back on the ski, keeping you, in the binding, and you hit a certain tolerance, and then you release from the binding. But that turntable style heel piece does a tremendous job of giving you that round natural flex of the ski, allowing the boot to kind of move around, as you're flexing and turning, and then recentering you.
Yeah. Okay, so just for everyone at home, I think the performance is there and the weight is there, but these have this. Tell me about the pivot toe, because I noticed this is obviously goes to 15, which is your DIN, so that's like the most heavy duty binding. If you're heavy, you're getting rad. But then I noticed the pivot. What's the difference between these toe pieces are different?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we've got some changes to the lineup this year. So in years past, the Pivot collection was offered in a 12 DIN, a 14 DIN, a 15 DIN, and an 18 DIN.
Okay.
Right? The Pivot 12 and the Pivot 14 all featured this full action toe piece.
Okay.
For this season, we consolidated those two models into a single model, the Pivot 13, which has our full action toe piece. We have the Pivot 15 with our race aluminum toe piece.
Okay.
Kind of the for the big hitters out there.
Sure.
Right. And we've had this binding in our collection for a number of years in
Yeah.
the 15 and 18
Yeah.
indicator range.
Yeah. That's the binding. If you're like rad, that's what you're going for. That's what I'm skiing in for sure.
What we
I'm
have
not that
that's-
rad, but I'm skiing in that.
What we have that's new this year and really exciting for us is a Pivot 11.
Ah.
So this features our lightest weight FDC toe piece.
Okay.
And is, maybe a more accessible and approachable binding for lighter weight skiers, whether you're a junior free rider
Yeah,
or,
perfect.
or a lighter weight woman who maybe was a little intimidated by the size, the weight, and the price point of something like the Pivot 13 or Pivot 15. So opening up some accessibility to lighter weight skiers of all types with the new Pivot 11. What you'll notice is the Pivot 11 has that lightweight FDC toe piece. You step up to the Pivot 13, you get our full action toe piece that has been on the 12 and 14.
Okay.
And then one step up, the race aluminum toe piece
Mhm.
from the Pivot 15. So each kind of step up in binding gives you a distinct, weight and kind of construction difference in the toe piece design of the binding, while the heel pieces remain consistent, delivering all those consumer benefits that we talked about.
All right. Now you say that's full action, and why? I mean, I'm assuming that the whole toe piece doesn't pivot.
Well, we'll get a little
So,
technical here.
Yeah,
then, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
So-
please. Let's go.
What makes all of the look bindings unique,
Mhm.
all of the pivot bindings unique, particularly when we're talking about our toe piece, is that every one of these binding models has a 180 degree releasability in the toe, including a true vertical toe release
Okay.
that operates independently of any functionality of the heel piece. So
Okay.
in other bindings out there, in order for the boot to release vertically from the toe piece, the heel piece actually has to slide back a little bit to allow for the clearance of the toe lug.
Okay.
With all look bindings, including the FDC full action and single pivot race aluminum toe piece, we have a true vertical toe release in the binding. So that toe piece will allow the boot to vertically release, again, independent of any functionality of the heel piece.
Okay. All right. And that's obviously important for the knee. That's like why the knee binding is popular.
Well,
or
we like to
something
just
like
say, superior power, protection, and performance.
that? Okay. All right. I'll let you go with that one. And by the way, just a note on me. You want to ski the lightest binding you can possibly get away with. So if you can, you don't need this binding if you can get away with this binding, because it's going to be significantly lighter, and that's no matter who you are. If you can ski a light binding, like depending on where you're at, ability and what they say your din is and stuff. So just a PSA from me. All right, Matt, thank you for the download on the look lineup. Jonny Moseley here for Peter Glenn Ski and Sports. Get the gear before you go.